Welcome world to Leadership Lessons. We are back again. I am your host, Mr. Louis Howell. The man is, man's got sound effects. This is how you know we're moving up in the world, guys. We've got sound effects now. So as you've seen by that entrance, I'm here with the man himself, Mr. Keshav Bhatt. How you doing, brother?
What's going on? I'm good.
Good, man.
I'm good.
And we are joined by, this is a very prestigious, very
I need a trumpet or something.
We do. That's not enough, Kesh.
Don't go
Where's
there.
the rest of it? Where's the rest of it?
Or like a garland.
Yeah, it's
like a
true.
garland
It's
would
true.
go well.
We are joined by an amazing guest, Mr. Adrian Harvey. How you doing?
Very well, very well.
Thank
Pleasure
you
to
Thank
be
you so
here.
much for joining us.
You're welcome.
So, Adrian, I'm going to allow you to do a further introduction of yourself, but Adrian is an ex-managing director of British Gas and E.On and currently runs a company called Elephants Don't Forget.
That's right.
Which is massively exciting. It's an edtech company, as we were just speaking about, and it's making real waves in the world of training, which sparked my mind, considering my other business is a marketing training company. So immediately I was like, oh, interesting. Yeah. But also for the fact that they not only have the fact that they're able to help people to be educated and go about the learning and development process more effectively using technology, but they also have recently transitioned into supporting some really significant charitable goals as well by partnering with a few charities around the world that are doing some massively impactful work. So thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Adrian. And would you like to give the viewers a further introduction as to who you are and, even maybe why you decided to join us on the show today?
Okay, you did a brilliant job, got to say. Well done. You definitely read up your stuff. So I happen to be dyslexic, and I struggled at school. And when I got into corporate life, I struggled more because the more you progress in corporate life, there is the assumption, particularly in the UK, that you went to university, you can process huge amounts of information, and you can draw it out. I mean, I can go through a page of stuff, and I'm confused. So I have to have the information in a different form, and the upshot was I felt excluded. And when we got to E.On, I was given the opportunity to be the executive sponsor of their dyslexic, dyspraxic, and dyscalculate employees around the world, looking at the training material they use and seeing what we could do to change that to be more inclusive for people who thought differently. Because I don't look at it as a disability. Right. I look at it as an advantage. Oh, massively. Because I look at life differently from people who aren't dyslexic.
So
how did you?
Go on.
No,
I was just going to go. I think I know what you're going to ask. It's probably the same question. So how did you go from it being, what society brands as a disability to an advantage? Because that's not what you're taught in school.
No. Well, it's a limiting belief, isn't it? So I'm a big believer in
straight away just throwing out big bombshells in the first minute, Adrian.
Just break it. Just break it. So I was when I was a kid, people used to say to me, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I said, "I'm going to run ICI," and everyone used to laugh at me. The teachers even laughed at me. Yeah. Anyway, all it taught me was actually, I'm going to prove you wrong. Of course. And they were right. I didn't run ICI. I ran British Gas. So you were right, guys. But you know what? I think I did what I needed to do.
Of course.
So don't be limited by other people's beliefs that they put on you.
Of course. And I have this thing that I remember when I said it, I thought it was like, Lewis, you're a lunatic. Like, that doesn't even make sense. Then I actually said it in front of a group of people just to see what people thought. And actually, one of the young people reached out to me a few years later and said, "Wow, like you saying that changed my life." But it's the same thing. I said to someone like, the reason why you shouldn't allow other people's viewpoints, perspectives, and experience to limit you is because at the end of the day, I mean, there's a number of different things. You've got the concept of like born alone, die alone. Your coffin doesn't come with a bunk bed, And the other thing for me though was like, when you breathe, air goes into your lungs and your lungs only. Like when I breathe, you guys are not receiving oxygen. So therefore, this is my life. You know what I mean? I am in control. No one else can tell me what to do. Are you going to breathe and I get oxygen? No. Therefore, no disrespect, but your viewpoint is not that relevant. Do you know what I mean? It's down to me. So completely agree with you on that viewpoint. Do you know what I mean? But if you guys could let me get a bit of oxygen, the room's kind of closed, just so you guys know. I do want to receive some oxygen in this time here. So please don't steal it all. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so today's topic is going to be huge again. We are, of course, continuing with the theme of wealth, money, and the economy. So, guys, we've got who better to speak on that topic? Who better, really? But as always, we will start with thanks for the cut. And, this could get a bit deep. This could get a bit emotional. And we have asked Adrian to come with a cut that he'd like to share with our group. So to reiterate it really, really quickly, the concept of sharing your cuts is that process of you going about getting better, because diamonds do not start off in the form that you see them, that we pay so much money for. They go through a process from being a piece of coal, a rock that we see as of no value at all, unless of course you want to be able to, you know, light a fire and keep your house warm, which is relevant, you know. But anyway, unless of course you want to go from keeping your house warm, but then it goes through a process to when it becomes this massively valuable piece of you know, something you put in a ring or in jewelry that we pay so much money for. So we like to share our cuts so that we can share the process of improving ourselves. So Adrian, would you like to share a cut you've had recently?
Right, so you guys asked me, you know, about making mistakes. You know, I make mistakes every day.
Of course.
Every day.
For real?
Quite a lot. For real. Lots and lots. And, you know, it comes from my brother-in-law's a ski instructor, and he says to me, how many times you fall over? 1 or 2. You're not trying hard enough.
Wow.
Yeah? If you're not falling over, you're not trying. So the analogy for me is you've got to be making mistakes. As long as you're learning from them, not making the same damn mistake every day. I mean, that's just stupidity. Yeah? But if you're learning from your mistakes. So I make a lot of mistakes. Some I can talk to you about, some... And I was thinking about what could I share that people would, you know, might humiliate me a bit. We had, a couple of weeks ago, we had a really big government-related contract opportunity. I can't tell you the name of the organisation. And I was going there for a 10 o'clock meeting, and I assumed where the meeting was. Because it's a very large organisation. It will obviously be there, at the head office. And it wasn't. So I was in the wrong place.
Oh dear.
At the right time. So the upshot of that is that we've probably lost that deal. And that's just down to, frankly, my stupidity. Probably a bit of arrogance. Yeah. In the past, I've had PA who would have checked it for me, and I got a nice little file. There you go. That's where you're going. And I just didn't bother. I just assumed, and it bit me in the.
So in that
moment,
and I've done this before. No, so you know, we're in a we're on the right sofa together here.
No, we've done it. We've done it.
So the question for me is, in that moment when you realise, because the stakes are a lot higher.
Yeah.
What do you do and what's going through your mind? Because I think it's very easy to become reactive and think, oh fuck, like, you know, and go into that mode of like beating yourself up or getting angry or upset. How do you respond as, you know, a leader in your organization that's responsible for this stuff?
I stamp my feet. Yeah, I get it over and done with. I burn it. I burn off the anger real quickly. Yeah, people who work for me and have worked with me in the past will say, I properly lose my temper, stamp my feet. Okay, now get on with it. Now fix it. Yeah, so there is no point in doing. You know, I'm a big believer in a bit calmer. Can I fix it? Can I affect it? No, don't ignore it. Because actually, if I can't influence it or fix it, no point worrying about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in that particular instance, I was cross, and then I got over it, and I wrote to the organisation and said, "Look, really sorry. This is what happened." And now it's in their hands to see whether or not they want to organise it again.
Did you get a response from them, or
not at the moment?
Okay,
so hence why it's not.
Because I think sometimes also there's also I think there's an opportunity in every moment, and in that moment, the way I've responded has been to actually just own up and say, look, I made an honest mistake, and here's what I learned from it.
Oh, fast, yeah.
And I'm just showing them that I'm human, I've made mistakes, and actually I'm always about learning, and that actually worked in my favour in the long run because they realised the way that you responded to that showed us that you are the type of organisation and the character that you have is who we want in front of our young people. So I was just interested, you know, to see how you responded in that scenario.
I fessed. You know, I fessed up. Honestly, it's the best policy, exactly. in my opinion. So, but also you got to get it in perspective. If you keep making those same mistakes, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, patterns can tell you a lot of things. So if you're watching, remember to post your thanks for the cut in the comments below. Before we go to Lewis's, and I think you've got a very.
I'm feeling to change it. No, I'm feeling to change it, but maybe I should share. What do you think? Should I share that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's human, you know? Yeah, if you feel comfortable, though, that's...
No, definitely. I'm just thinking more what the cut is and how I look at my response. But I guess, okay, so should I go straight in then, yeah? So my cut essentially was... So we are filming this on Tuesday, and I got a call, not Sunday gone, but the Sunday before, whilst I was out at an event, basically. It was like a tour of the British Museum, but like a Black History version. So to look at, like... what they were calling the real history, essentially, as to like, well, this is what you're being told in the museum, but this is what really was happening in Egypt at the time. Anyway, so I'm at the thing, then I get a call from my dad who had just spoken to my cousin, and my cousin had actually tried to contact me, but essentially her dad, so my uncle, he's around about 90, because she's actually my dad's cousin, so she's my second cousin technically, but he's been in and out of hospital for sort of the last year and a half. And yeah, I got a call saying that, you know, he was back in hospital, but this time it was worse than it usually is. So I'm thinking, okay, so like as soon as the tour's finished, shot down there. And literally, like, I'm seeing my uncle, who, bear in mind, when I had a birthday party 2 years ago, he would have been, 88 at the time. He was literally the first on the dance floor. Like, he literally is the one that gets up and he's dancing and he's looking at you like, so what are you not waiting for? Do you know what I mean? Like, and he came up to me during the night as well. He's like, I want to buy you a drink. I'm like, Uncle, no, it's good. He looked at me and went, I'm buying you a drink. And then I was like, all right, cool, I'll just have a juice. He was like, I said, I want to buy you a drink and you're telling me juice. I was like, okay. Anyway, full of life, one of the most iconic men that you'll meet of his era. Like, so many people look up to this man. But just seeing him in that hospital bed where, you know, he couldn't even sleep. Do you know what I mean? Like, every time he looked like he was going to fall asleep, pain just hit him and he would get up again. Like, because he's got like myeloma, which is obviously like a cancer of the blood. He also had a number of different problems with his hips and his knees. And so he was just in pain all the time. And it just hurt me thinking, wow, like, he's really going through it. But because we've seen him go in and out of hospital so much, we're thinking it will be temporary. So I went back there again the following day, went back there again during the week again. And then, yeah, unfortunately, literally yesterday morning, just got a message from my cousin saying he passed away. And it was tough because it was like, that cousin, she is one of the most amazing women that I know, in the sense of she's always worked 2 to 3 jobs minimum. You know, she's got her son that she cares for, and she's now, luckily enough, she's got a man who she's been with for the last sort of, I don't even want to put a time on it because I could be wrong, but let's just say over 6 years. And he's amazing. But prior to that, she didn't really have support necessarily with bringing up her son, and she's brought him up in the most amazing way. But she's put in so much work to ensure that when her mum was going in and out of hospital in the same period of time, she was always there for her mum and her dad and her son and just moving around. And then now, to know that he's kind of gone and to see the pain she went through just made me realize how important it is that I don't let his legacy just disappear. Like, he will live through his grandson, who's my cousin, of course, but I also looked at her and said, if he can make this impact by just being a human being and just being as authentic as he can to his true self, I have to do the same, you know. And that was a cut for me, because it was like, sometimes you take for granted and you think these people are going to be here forever and they're not. You know, and those are the points where you have to really engage more and look at how can I reverse engineer how they achieved what they did, to then ensure that I can go about not only following in those footsteps, but actually creating a new path going forwards as well. So yeah, that was my cut. Do you know what I mean? Pretty deep. Appreciate it. Thank you.
It is. And yeah, like, where do you, I mean, I think that's the thing with, death is realizing that it ends a life but not necessarily a relationship, and you can always take that further forward and continue to be that legacy. But of course, you know, we have to move on with the show. Thank you so much for sharing.
No problem.
You know, it takes a lot of courage and strength to share that so openly, especially, you know, in this environment. So today we're here to talk about money and finance and wealth and all those kind of big chunky topics that you don't really get taught in school. And actually, we did a survey recently that asked young people, what topics would you like to learn more of in school? And this was top.
This was literally the top one.
So to go right into it, you know, I asked you at the beginning, if you were to go back in time, for example, to meet the 18-year-old Adrian, what would be like the 3 key things that you would want him to know and do, most importantly, based on your experience?
Well, you know, I was lucky. I had some advice in this area. I think what I regret, if you want, at being the age of 18 was perhaps not placing the importance on education that I place on my kids now. Yeah, you know, I would ask, well, I don't really need to know how to do algorithms. Well, that's a load of rubbish. I don't need to know that. Well, you know what I think it would have taught me was learning to think better, quicker, earlier. Yeah, I had to learn all that while going through my jobs and, you know, through my career. And I think I would have had a considerable advantage if I had spent more time in education. So, you know, that's an aside. If you want to talk specifically about money, without wanting to sound too patronising, my advice to anyone out there in your audience would be earn more than you spend. First point. Obvious. Yeah, really? Yeah, well, yes, really. So, you know, you're at an age where you should be out having fun. If you're out having fun all the time, yeah, you're going to be bankrupt.
Of course.
Yeah?
yeah.
If you never go out and have fun, you're going to have no friends. Yeah, and life not worth living on your own. Yeah. So there's a balance to be struck. when I was 18 to 22, 23, I had 2 jobs, one of which was running a bar, and that was my second job. So I got my socialising in the bar whilst getting paid.
Smart move.
Yeah. I never had any chance to spend the money I earned. It was fantastic. And over that period of time, I managed to save up enough for a deposit on a really small, cheap house down in Somerset. And that got me on the property ladder just by having 2 jobs and never having time to spend it, but still having a laugh. So I get there will be people out there who perhaps are in a situation where that's not good advice. They will be a minority, I accept that. But the majority of people out there, you need to ask yourself the question, have I got that balance right? Yeah? You're young, you should be having fun. Get the balance right. You've got to be spending less than you're earning.
Of course.
The second thing I'd say is about debt. Okay, so debt is a massive issue in this country. I spent a decade in corporate lending before I joined the energy sector. So working for organisations like BNP Paribas, G Capital, ABN AMRO, lending money. So I understood the mechanics of lending and paying back money and credit scores at a real young age. I was doing that in my early 20s. My advice to anyone out there would be, we got a client called Experian. Go on their website, just look it up, www.experian.co.uk. Go on their website, have a look. They give you great advice on building a credit history. Why is that important? Because let me tell you, if whatever you want to do in the future, having a negative credit history isn't going to help you. I guarantee it's not going to help you.
Just for anyone, to bust that jargon as well, what is credit history in case, there's anyone out there who doesn't know?
They're going to go on Experian and look, and it explains it all. But what credit history is, you get a credit score. So closer to 1,000 you get, the better your credit score. So you get up to 999 and anyone's going to lend you any money you want, really. Even with the affordability controls that we've got in place now. So I would actually encourage you to go and get a credit card. This may sound incredibly irresponsible. Seriously.
No, not at all.
Go and get a credit card. Buy stuff with it. Pay back the credit card. Allow it to build up a little bit of debt. Then switch it for a 0 interest free. And switch it again. And switch it again. The trouble with that advice is it relies on you being disciplined. To switch at the point where the 0 interest switches to 25%. If you haven't got that discipline, don't do it. But, frankly, discipline, I don't know any ill-disciplined, financially successful people.
Very true.
So it is a reality. So go get a credit card, manage your debt, control debt, don't let it control you.
That's a powerful quote.
And if it controls you now, it'll control you for the rest of your life. You'll live in debt and poverty.
Of course.
And it's a horrible thing. I've been in debt in my life in a way that I've felt uncomfortable about it, and it's constant pressure. And I swore to myself, I'm not going to do this again. I'm going to get myself in a position where I can manage that. And I think the third thing I would suggest is there is no such thing as get rich quick. There is no such thing. Get a Sharpie, and if this doesn't sound great, a Sharpie is like an indelible pen. Write it on your bathroom mirror. There is no such thing as get rich quick. And leave it there. Every morning when you get up and clean your teeth, look at it. It is real. There is no such thing as get rich quick. And if you think you're going to get there by gambling, you're going to go bankrupt. You're going to lose your shirt. And worse still, you could potentially ruin your life at a really, really young age. So gambling's not the answer. That said, I buy a lottery ticket every week. Just in case, one lottery ticket. I'm going to have a little punt, but I'm not going to get it out of control. So I would be saying to you, there's no such thing as get rich quick.
What would you change it to?
Well, you see, what we're talking about perhaps is investing. Investing in your success. So get rich quick is I put no effort in and I want lots out. Well, I ain't got any time for you. Because there's a million people out there who want everything for nothing, and I'm sorry, but that's not real life. If, however, you're prepared to put some effort in, then I think there's lots of opportunity in the world today, and I would encourage you to start your own business. Not with your money. Start your own business with somebody else's money. And if point one, if you can show them that you've got discipline, that you understand how the world works with regard to credit, if you can show them that you're not naive and irresponsible, then people like me who want to invest in small businesses or young businesses will look at you favourably. But if you're naive and you've racked up, you've got more debt than Greece, and you don't know what day it is, well, I'm sorry, no one in their right mind is going to invest in your business. But I would strongly recommend spend some time and effort yourself. Understand how money works. It's not difficult. It's all there on the internet. Yeah, get a good idea. And by the way, don't spend too much time looking for the next greatest Google. Yeah. There's millions of people in business doing exactly the same as somebody else down the road. They're just doing it better.
That's it.
And most investors invest in people before they invest in the business idea. So I know when I got investment in Elephants Don't Forget, my investors invested in me in advance of the idea. Clearly the idea had to be sensible, but they invested in me first.
I think that's so powerful. And there's a number of things that I want to actually pick up on based on what
dive
you
in.
said. Did you have anything?
Well, I was going to go to, I think there's a good point to go to build the buzz, actually.
And then come back.
Yeah, okay, because the question that we've got from Shanti in India, thanks for the question, Shanti. And if you guys have got a question, make sure you put it in the comments below for the next episode. And the question is this: I want to be a business person and have an influence. I want to be my own boss.
Good.
But I've never done anything like it. Are entrepreneurs born, or are they created, and why?
Let's go back to limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Shanti, you can be anything you want to be. If you want it enough, go and do it.
Simple answer.
You're born. Anyone can do it. Yeah. Do you want it enough? What are you prepared to give up to achieve it? Yeah. That may mean that your mates are out having fun and you're doing the invoicing. That's where it goes. Yeah. And I suspect if you're prepared to put that sort of discipline and effort in, you will get the rewards. You won't get them quickly. I'm 5 years into Elephants Don't Forget, and only last year did we start getting paid.
There you go.
By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and I love that. I love that because you've already had success and prosperity with, in the corporate world, in other sectors, and yet you are still willing to say, you know what, I'm willing to start right down at simple basics.
Ground zero.
At zero.
No
for 4
salary.
years.
No salary.
Full time. That's not easy. And you've got a family, you've got commitments. Yeah. That is not easy.
Of course.
But yet to do that and say, I believe in this thing. I'm going to be disciplined. That's what it's about, is that delayed gratification, being consistent, continually improving. And then you'll get what's coming to you.
There's many truisms, you get out what you put in. So Shanti, don't let anyone tell you can't do it. If you've got the work ethic and you want to do it enough, you can do it. And there's a load of advice out there to stop you perhaps making as many mistakes as I and others who have gone before you made. Take advantage of it.
And this is the thing about being an entrepreneur and a business person is being very adept and very astute when it comes to staying on top of your finances and things like that. But then also what I found, and you guys can disagree with me here, is when you are an entrepreneur and you have that knack for seeing what the vision is and actually seeing every step you're taking towards that, sometimes you forget that you're actually in a worse position than most people would perceive you to be. So for example, when I speak to people about what's happening with my business, I'm like, yeah, we've done this recently. We're about to do this. This is what's happening. I can see where it's going. It's moving in the right direction. But then if you were to actually take a look at the amount you pay yourself, you're like, oh, actually, it's a lot less than someone else with a normal job who maybe doesn't have that same vision and that spirit that you have. And for example, doesn't view themselves as successful as you, but technically in terms of the tangible, i.e. the amount of money that enters their account each month, they might be earning more. So it's hard because as an entrepreneur, you want to continue to drive the vision, but then also start to say, there comes a point when you do have to say to yourself, I am actually going to ensure that financially, I make sure that I individually am stable as well as the company. And not get so caught up on what's happening, you know what I mean? Because I think that's a very easy mistake to make as an entrepreneur and as a business person. Because I know I've done that many a time in the past. It's been so focused on, oh my gosh, we're about to do this, and then went, hold on, why have I only paid myself this much? And why have I only got this much in my bank account? I need to sort that out, right now. Do you know what I mean?
And that's where I think, the benefit of doing the stuff that's not sexy, cash flow forecasts, financial planning, management accounts, doing those things on a regular basis. It is not fun for me. It's not fun for me.
I was going to ask you to share, but I don't know if you're going to share that cut that we talked about yesterday. That happened.
Maybe on the next one. Maybe on the next one. But I think the diligence of doing that it takes, you have obviously the passion and the energy and all that side of things of we're going to be doing this and the opportunity, but also coming down to the hard basics of this is how much we made last month. This is how much we made in the last quarter. This is how it compares to the last quarter, the one before, the year before, and seeing those trends and then using that data, because what you measure, you manage.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do forget to do that. So we've got one final segment to end on.
Go on.
Which is social reform fail of the week. And actually, I don't know if there's something that you want to share here.
No.
Okay. So I've got one. I was thinking of what you said actually, is get rich quick schemes.
Yeah.
Lewis and I, we rant about this all the time because we are very prolific online. We have people who follow us, and every now and again I'll get some young person who'll email me or message me and say, so I've got a great, amazing opportunity for you.
Yeah.
Can you come to this webinar at this time? I'm going to do a presentation. And it's one of those multi-level marketing, get rich quick schemes. And don't get me wrong, there are benefits to those. But on the whole, I think it's a red herring. So for me, social reform fail of the week is shout out to all the people who continuously message me with amazing opportunities. But when I ask questions about, okay, so what does it entail? What are some of the numbers behind that? Who else is getting results from this? How does it work? And you dig deeper beneath the vague aphorisms. There's no substance.
Yeah. And I think what that comes down to, and the reason it's a fail, is because we always talk about it. Are you honoring your craft? So when we say, are you honoring your craft? We're saying, for example, if I was to ask you the ins and outs of the technology that is behind the application for elephants, don't forget, you would know, you would understand the reason as to why your clients buy into it. You'd understand the landscape of the market and all of that kind of thing. And, I used to be in a multi-level marketing program back a few years ago, and I actually saw a lot of success with it for a short period of time. It's like 3 or 6 months. But, when you go around the thing of, you've got to build a team and all that kind of stuff. But that's because I was focusing on, well, what skills do I need to develop? Okay, well, how do I need to help these people? Well, do I know the products inside out? Okay, why are these people buying and these people not? And I was really analysing everything that makes it up. Whilst what you have with these people, they're literally robots. They are literally told, well, I don't know how to run a business. All you have to do is say this line in a text message and you're good. It's like no business has ever been run by just having a one-line sales pitch. That is not how business works. And I think this is also another reason as to why when it comes to business, not all salespeople make great entrepreneurs, because some salespeople are only good at selling, but they're not necessarily good at doing everything else. And we've even seen that with some people based in the same office space as us. But anyway.
We won't get into that today.
Definitely.
I would say... for any of these things, I see a lot of people fail because they haven't defined what success looks like. Holistic outcome.
Yeah.
If you're out there and you're saying, what I need is enough money so I can buy a Ferrari and do... I'd encourage you to think a little bit deeper, because that's really shallow. Yeah. Think about what you really want out of life. And if money's a big bit of it, then think about how you're gonna achieve that, as well as the other things that you're gonna have to sacrifice to get it.
Definitely.
You can't have something for nothing, right?
So, sometimes, it's a balloon and you squeeze it and it's... So you only have a certain amount of time in the day.
Of course not.
You do actually have to sleep. Yeah.
So true.
Apparently.
So true.
Which is counter to a lot of the messaging that you get these days, where we do have this ideology that persists about boasting how little you sleep and how much you work, as if that is the measure of a human being.
Of course not. And that's why I commend Ariana Huffington for that book, Sleep Revolution, because she's big on that, and that just shows you. But sorry, you were going to say something.
No, I think we any of my clients watching this, it's not aimed at you personally, but I see some of my clients that have got a culture of get in the office at 7 and woe betide you if you're still if you're not here at 7 o'clock tonight. That's a 12-hour shift and getting in and out. They'd be working in London somewhere, so do you think that's a 14-hour day?
Wow.
How does that fit in with a work-life balance?
Of course.
They're going to have kids and family, and it's just going to be, it's toxic. It's not sustainable.
I think the thing that actually transformed my thinking even more recently was a question someone asked me is, if you think about, so there's you, but there's also your kids, your wife, your family, your friends. You're part of an ecosystem. Anything Adrian does affects that entire ecosystem. So if you change the question to, well, not just how does that 14-hour day affect me, but how does it affect my kid?
Exactly.
What does that mean for him? And what would be a win for him? because that's a totally different point of view. And often we don't consider these things. And yeah, you can go and do the 14-hour day, but what impact is that having on the people and the loved ones around you? And what are they having to give so that you can do that?
And I think that's about being very intentional and deliberate. You know, like I try not to bang on about this point to my girlfriend, but that's what I say to her. It's like, sometimes she's like, Lou, you take everything so seriously. She's like, just chill. And I'm like, no, but you don't understand. When I'm with you, the reason I take it so seriously when I spend time with you is because I want to maximize the time I spend with you. I really want to show you how much I love you. And and she's like, but Lou, we're only going bowling. Like, it's okay. And I'm like, no, but you don't understand, babe. Like, I want you to know that I am present. I am here. This is serious because, for example, I know when I'm working, I'm locked in. So everything I do, I'm locked in and I'm very intentional with everything. And I think a part of that comes from, you know, like when we spoke about death earlier, like I've had people who have seen today and literally the next day they've gone. So for me now, I think something subconsciously has happened where it's like, I can't just like, okay, I'm just sitting here. And like, I need to know, okay, why am I chilling? What do I want to get out of this chilling session? Okay, what am I reading whilst I'm chilling? If I am going to watch TV, okay, what am I going to watch? Like, just so I know, okay, how long am I going to do this for? Okay, and I'm doing this because tomorrow I know I've got to do this. So I want a clear head. For me, I just need to go through that thought process because I'm trying to be intentional and deliberate with what I do because you only have a limited time on this earth.
Right, so deliberate about what you do. So we refer to it as locus of control.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. How much of my life can I control? It's raining. Tough shit. I can't change that. Get an umbrella. Yeah, move on. In fact, and I meet so many people who are stressing about it raining. What's the point?
That's what's the point?
I get that all the time.
It rains 2/3 of the year in this country. Yeah. Why is it a surprise to you?
We need rain. You know, it's like, God damn it. Anyway, so, you know, don't stress about what you can't change and make sure that you're spending your time, yeah, for want of a better word, stressing or focused on the things you can change.
There you go.
Yeah, take control of your life. Don't let other people control your life. And if I'm honest, 9 out of 10 people I meet are a victim of their environment.
Yeah.
1 out of 10 person I meet is in control of their life. And is saying, this is what I can control, I'm going to control it.
That's it.
Yeah? The traffic's bad.
Can't control that.
Leave earlier.
Yeah. Or if the traffic is bad, could you potentially start doing certain things
audio
on the way to, thank you, I'm going to say, an audio book. Yeah, don't text. You could put an audio book on, you could speak to a colleague about some of the things that you would have potentially spoken about in a meeting had you been there on time. There are all these little things you can do, but it's about maximizing the time, you know what I mean? And I think we overlook how important that is and being intentional.
And speaking of time,
yeah, we are strapped for time.
We are out of time. So,
but I think Adrian should do the nugget of the day today, though. And I was tempted to make him talk about something to do with debt because he spoke about it really briefly, and I feel like that would be good for our viewers to make the nugget of the day something to do with.
If you could end with a final nugget of the day around debt, is the challenge.
Okay.
So what would be like the ending thing that you want to leave our audience with?
Debt is a reality of modern life. If you stick your head in the sand and hope it will go away, it will ruin your life. Deal with it right now. Right now. Stop what you're doing. Deal with it right now. You will feel 100% better. The fear of what might happen is 10 times greater than what it actually is when it manifests. Deal with it right now.
Adrian, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Adrian.
We're going to wrap it up there.
Goodness me.
Pleasure.
And that's some value.
Tune in next Sunday for the next episode of Leadership Lessons, where we've got another special guest who's going to be talking about the economy and simplifying how you can understand it. And as always, guys, comment below, share the video, and make sure you subscribe. Peace.